all were actually. Most of the test pilots back in the 50s and 60s had a maximum height requirement.
Oh, wow.
And some of them that pushed, I can't remember the pilot's name, but there was one guy specifically I remember who had a call sign was too tall.
Too tall.
He didn't make the cut for the astronaut corps because he was literally too big. And there is somewhere in here, I printed this sweet little fact sheet that I'm going to give to Kirsten to read. I think it's the last couple pages.
Okay.
But one of the interesting things about the VAB that not a lot of people know of is it's actually the largest single-story building in the world. A lot of people think it's like 50-some stories tall. It's not. It's technically one story. It's a huge high base. And the fun little thing is that you can see it in the distance, and as we get closer and closer to it, it doesn't really change the way your eyes and your brain think it should, because it's much, much bigger than you think it is. And we'll make a little stop later. I can give you some perspective on just how big it really is, because when you're in it and around it, it's just too big to kind of grasp. All right, so if you come over here, so this is a full-scale representation of that flag. Okay. So that's one way to kind of get a sense of the size. But what I like to do is, so you see the white Artemis sign there? Yep. That's the transfer aisle or the low bay. So if you follow the edge of the low bay roof all the way back to the beginning of the high bay, you'll see a tiny little man door. That man door is an 8-foot standard size man door. So that gives you a sense of sort of the scale of the building.
So where is this flag on that building, you said?
The painted right on the side, the big American flag.
Big American flag?
Yep.
Everything that happens during the VAB has to be on a schedule before we can ever work it. And we can do all of that through our ops. So all operations happening in the VAB, no matter which entity or contractor is performing it, will be on an integrated schedule to where we all know what our hazards for the day are. So it's our first stop here. We'll bring them in here, take them out, inspect them, and then we'll go store them somewhere. We have our 175-ton crane here in the transfer aisle. So when we pick up core stage, we have to do a flip. So we pick it up horizontally, flip it vertically, and then place it over into high bay 3. We need 2 cranes to do that.
Your right, and right now we're traveling in between the crawlerway track paths. So to the left and to the right, you'll see a whole bunch of river rock. The crawlers, the big machines that take the that haul the spacecraft basically out to the pads, straddle this road. So there's one set of tracks over there and one set of tracks over here. I'm gonna drive us by the crawler here in a second if I can finagle our way over there. Let's go this way. The interesting thing about this rock is it's a very specific type of river rock. And I'm assuming you guys are all engineers or fairly technical savvy, so I'm going to quiz you now because I'm a jerk. Why do you think we need to find special rock for the crawler? What are some of the ideas you guys might have?
It's like to accommodate the weight of the spacecraft.
Good answer.
Surface area.
Not specifically, but that's a good thought. Anybody else?
Size of the rock.
Surface area.
Service area, also a good idea. No, you'll never guess it, so don't feel bad. I just like to hear what how y'all think.
I'm not an engineer anyway.
So the reason we actually have to have special river rock is it's the only rock that does not spark when it's crushed.
Ah, I see.
Yes, so NASA did a whole bunch of research and looked at all different types of rock from all different kinds of rivers all over the United States, and it turns out there's some very specific river in Tennessee. I think it's one of the same rivers they also use to make whiskey, bourbon,
The river.
Tennessee whiskey.
Very important river.
But when it's crushed, it will not spark. And because we were moving fueled vehicles back and forth to the pad, you're in what we call a Class 1 Div 2 situation where you cannot have any spark generation whatsoever. So I can't actually get in there, and it's far enough away that it's not real good to see. So we're just going to flip a B.
Yeah, makes sense.
But that's why, and you'll see more of the crawler way later, that's why we have specific rock. Sorry about that. But again, Space Florida Tower. It's run by the FAA. It's, I think, KTTS is the tower. And they allow people to do low passes down the strip.
Oh.
So let me see if I can get us up a little higher. So we still have like 20 minutes.
What lands here right here?
So our helicopters fly in and out of here. We have a company called Starfighters Inc., which flies really rich people on F-104 Starfighters. They also, actually, they've contracted with Embry-Riddle and done some high altitude research stuff.
How rich is rich?
Like Paul McCartney went out and like did some flying with them, and Mick Jagger's been out here. The other thing that we like to do is we rent out the strip for race car teams. So NASCAR teams, for IndyCar teams, and some of the hypercar IMSA teams come out and do top speed testing and like basically drag studies on the strip because it's so long and wide.
How long? How long is the strip?
Wait a minute. Where's my cheat sheet?
Like 3 miles.
It was built in the 70s. Of course I don't have it. Oh wait a minute. Here we go. You know, I don't actually have it on here. I want to say it's 3 miles.
3 miles. Oh.
But I'll leave that to Andre.
Alright.
But anyway, yeah, there's also a pretty cool spot. You can't get to it during a tour like this because it takes coordination with Space Florida and the tower. But there's a little plaque where the last shuttle flight, which was Atlantis, landed, and their wheel stop point, it was the last landing of a space shuttle here. There's a plaque they embedded in the runway to commemorate the wheel stop point for the last shuttle mission. And sorry guys, I didn't realize they moved the mock-up.
For launch support, provide surveillance for some of our partners across the river, over at Space Launch Delta 45, or the Eastern Range. They handle a lot of the range coordination for launches, and then some of the stuff that we don't really put out publicly on a regular basis is ecological work. So we do have ecologists working on the center, and they keep track of everything from some other apex predators around here, like alligators.
accurate. Langley is just as big.
Okay. Well, I was thinking, okay, second when I said it.
Yep.
A flight hour? Awesome.
Yeah, I'll pick up that part. No, it's in the fuselage. Fuel bladder. Okay. All right, so these are our hangar mates, our neighbors, starfighters. They operate these F-104s on a fairly regular basis. Not flying today, so you guys are missing out on that. They do offer training in an F-104. So if your pockets are deep enough and you meet the requirements, you can definitely talk to them about scheduling a flight. The single seat version is Mach 2 Plus. The two-seat version is pretty high. I think it's Mach 1.7-ish. Pretty doable in the aircraft. They are capable of high altitude flight, so they can exceed 60,000. Unfortunately, they're not training up to that, so nobody's flying with a pressure suit, so they'll keep it below that for if you want to go for a ride. But they can make it from here to Miami pretty quick, so.
That have been here since the 60s. Some of them are new, some of them are original, but you can see you got Reuters, CBS News, so Cronkite and others from the 60s would be in those buildings during the launches. And then up here, since we've got some time, we can walk up. They don't have anything on the clock right now, but this is the turn basin, which is where they bring the boosters in, or not the boosters, the tanks, the big orange tanks, and then that clock that says Artemis on it is the countdown clock. There's no real point doing anything because it doesn't have anything on it, but also if you ever get the chance to watch a launch, this is a wonderful place to do it. And then over there you can see the VAB, and the little white building with the funny shaped front is the Launch Control Center. And I'll point it out on the way back, but the windows are shaped that way because when the vehicle's launched, you wanted to be able to see up. So the windows are actually slanted so you can see more up than out.
Thanks. I didn't realize the bottom was there.
Yeah.
Look at these little shags.
I don't know, that's funny. And this is the turn base and access dock is over there down that. So the core stage, when it shows up, will come in on a barge into the turn basin, and then they'll put it on a K-Mag transporter and take it over to the VAB. Also, the black pipes coming up on the side of the SpaceX pad, that's what I like those. Ours you can't really see. But those huge towers have like an 8-inch butterfly valve that opens. Huge, huge valves. And that whole water tower empties and out. Actually, it's average. But yeah, so this is a great spot because basically the
Da ist schon
entirety
von
of
den Einladungen schon starten.
the only place you can't really see from there